Thank you so much for accommodating us and taking us within your travels to Hyderabad, to Ahmedabad. Thank you so much. I just wanted to relate a story of small Mohini Ben was with Adi Kumara, and she was saying that is that he would prepare these speeches and he would give these speeches to Mama, and Mama would teach the Kumaris. And one day, Mama told Mohini Ben, okay, this is the speech. And you know, it's that prayer, Tum hi ho mata, tum hi ho pita, or tumri kripa se sukh ganere, which means you are the mother, you are the father, and because of your mercy, we have a lot of abundance of happiness. So when she started to share that, she was put between Mama and Baba in the history hall. And when she started to share that, she started saying the opposite, that we are your mother and father. And everybody started laughing. But Baba said, no, no, child, continue. You are right. And they don't understand. And she shared that story with a lot of love, that Baba encouraged her even though she got it wrong. And I just want to say that I do feel that really having mercy for the self is the only thing on this path. I mean, we're on this path because we have mercy. I know for me, it's my mercy on me that keeps me here, because I need to change. I want to change. So anyway, yeah, just with those thoughts, I'll let you start. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, lovely. Thank you. Om Shanti to everyone. And when I read the heading of the Murli, that to be merciful, you need to have unlimited disinterest, I was reflecting on this in different ways. And yes, it's important to be very, very detached and not be interested or engaged in many things, so that then I can have the full mercy for those who need to have mercy. And I didn't expect Baba to be explaining disinterest the way that he did, but it was very beautiful. And so Baba, the one who loves all, the one who has mercy for all, looking at all his children and seeing the ones who don't know him. The ones who do know him, he has mercy for them, but the ones who don't know him, he has special mercy for them, and especially because all of them are his children. And so in that awareness then, Baba saying that Baba was seeing that there was this imbalance between the mind and the intellect. It was the influence of all the problems that people are facing. And again, just reflect on that a little bit. My feelings are being pulled in one direction. My logic and reason are being pulled in a different direction. Where do I go? Am I going to follow my feelings, or am I going to follow what my reason is telling me? And reason says, keep moving. And feelings say, no, stop. I need to help, I need to give. And so to come to that stage where there's a balance of my feelings and my reason, my mind and my intellect is such an important thing. And yet, of course, people at the moment do not have it. And so God feels a lot of mercy for these souls who are lost in that struggle inside because you're not finding solutions to the problems that they're facing. And then, yes, there are all the situations and the problems, the chaos and so on. It's giving them a lot of sorrow. And so God feels a lot of mercy. He's seeing that they're praying for mercy, but maybe they're praying to the deity, they're praying to sages and saints, they're praying to the religious founders, whoever was the founder of their religion. And God's mercy is that God will fulfill whatever it is that is their desire, but He will even fulfill it through that image that is the nearest and dearest to them. If, for example, a follower of Guru Nanak were to see that image of Guru Nanak in his mind, God is giving him that vision, then he feels that I am being blessed, I am content, and God has mercy on me, or Guru Nanak has mercy on me. If instead of that he were to see an image of Christ, it would be difficult for him to understand what's going on. And the other way around also, of course. And so Baba will always fulfill somebody's prayer through the instrument that that individual has faith in. And so I was seeing that as being a very special part of God's compassion for all of us. Whatever is the way in which I will come to be able to take maximum benefit, God is going to give me that benefit in that way. And it wouldn't be the same for all. It would be very unique and individual. But God is totally aware of that. And so built in within the drama are these visions and sacrifices and all the things that happen to be able to give people that feeling that my sage, my saint, my guru, my special deity is honoring me and giving me everything that I want or I had asked for. And then Baba was saying, but you are all my cooperative children. And so are you able to have the same quality of mercy for all? Because they are all your family. Real brothers and sisters, step brothers and sisters, doesn't matter. They are your family. And so become the master, merciful ones, following in the Father's footsteps so that you too are able to have that mercy and compassion for everyone who is in need at the present time. And that is a lot of people who need God's mercy and blessings and help in whatever way it is that is necessary. And God is going to fulfill and reward all of them in the way that makes sense to them. God does not impose His will on anyone, but He gives a choice, an option. And whatever is the option that the soul has chosen, God will satisfy them along in that particular way. And then Baba reminding us also that to what extent do I truly have compassion? Is it compassion for all the beings of the world, known and unknown? Is it compassion for the Brahmin family? And that compassion is that compassion which enables them to move forward at a faster speed. And then a surprise from Baba. What about yourself? Do you have compassion and mercy on yourself? And of course, today we understand that everything begins within. If I love myself, I can love others. If I don't love myself, I'm not going to be able to love others. If I have compassion on myself, I can have compassion on others. And so in today's world, the topic of self-compassion has become a very, very major topic. And a few years ago, we ran workshops with Dr. Sarah Eager on this very theme. There's a whole course on self-compassion. And many of us took that course and went through it. And a very simple example, not in the Murali, but since we're talking about compassion for the self, you know, if you see somebody who's not so happy, what will you do? Just walk past them? Well, being a Brahmin and knowing that there is compassion, most likely you're going to sit down and give them some time so that then they too become happy again. But when you're not happy, are you willing to give yourself that time with love and compassion for the self so that then you become happy once more and you're able to sort out whatever it is you need? Or am I pushing myself? I have to get this done, this has to be done, da, 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 da. And so I'm doing it, but without any compassion for the self. And so the results of whatever I do are unlikely to be as powerful or as successful as if I had taken a little bit of time out for myself and given myself the time that I need, and then put that aspect of compassion into practice in terms of connecting with others. And so, big lesson to be able to give that to the self. Another thing that struck me very much was I was saying that all the different souls have compassion, but to a different extent. And it reminded me of a question I'd asked Dadi. I was curious. Many people come and they stay, or they go away very quickly. And if they stay, maybe it's a few weeks, it's a few months. So how does one recognize a soul of the deity dynasty? And our answer was that right until the end of the Kalpa, the souls of the deity world will have compassion to a certain extent or another. And this is true of Brahma Baba, this is true of Dadi Janki from all the stories we've heard about her own life and so on. So very, very important. And as the different traditions expand, there's less and less and less and less compassion all along the line. And of course, by the end of Kali Yuga, very little compassion left in the world, both in terms of the self, but also in terms of the world out there. And so let me be able to take that time in silence for myself when I need to heal, and I'm able to heal myself through God's love and bring about that transformation. And then Baba said that yes, you all love the Father, but there are some people who are fearful of the Father. And Baba doesn't want you to be scared. But Baba wants you to be scared of making a mistake. And so a sin. Baba's point, when there's the Father, then there's no sin. But when there's sin, there's no Father there. So Bab and Bab, sin and Baba, either the one or the other. Both can't stay together. And so not to be afraid of God, to love God, but to know very clearly that Dharamraj is God's companion. And I don't want to stop in Dharamraj Puri. I want to be able to go straight home and with the Father. And so I have to make sure that I don't get into the path of sin for any reason at all. Let me be scared of that. And out of my love for Baba, let me be willing to give up whatever weaknesses I have. Just get my water, which is just here. Can I have such love for the Father and such love for my own original stage that I am a soul of the deity clan, and weaknesses aren't part of my original nature. When I have this consciousness and this awareness, then yes, for sure, I'm going to protect myself from sin because love for the Father means that I have really had disinterest for all the negativity that's around, or all the weaknesses that I still carry. I don't want to carry those weaknesses with me at all. So Baba's point was that out of love for Baba and out of compassion for myself, because I belong to the deity religion, the highest on high, and I am now connected with the Father who's the highest on high. So that awareness of love for God and compassion for the self will make me reject all the weaknesses and throw them out of my life. I won't want to hang on to them. I don't want to keep them anymore. And then Baba went on to explain in a lot of detail what is Gyan Yukt compassion, and how often it is that we forget that compassion can have these two sides. One can be compassion which is very external, but the other is compassion which is based on enlightenment, Gyan, knowledge. And in that state of enlightened compassion, yes, I'm going to be able to renounce all my carelessness. Because Baba said 90% perhaps of the mistakes we made are because we haven't had that state of total disinterest. And so first Baba mentioned 3 aspects, then Baba mentioned 4 aspects. 1, carelessness. 2, jealousy. 3, dislike. And 4th, being impressed. And so these 4 things are what causes us to make all the mistakes. And so with total disinterest, because of God's love, I want to get rid of all of these. Then in that awareness, I am going to be able to flourish and move forward. And then what is it that I get impressed with? I get impressed with a person's status, with their virtues, with their qualities, with their capabilities, with the cooperation they've given me maybe, through the service that they do. And then further on, Baba also mentioned how we get impressed not only by others, but we also get impressed by ourselves. And each one of the subjects is something that I can be very proud of and be very impressed. And I can say, well, my intellect is a planning intellect. My intellect is a creative intellect. My intellect has the best understanding of Gyan. I can understand Gyan perfectly, absolutely, in a way that nobody else can. In terms of service, of course I'm the best. I have that expertise to be able to reveal Baba to the world. And so these were some of the comments that Baba made about being impressed by the self. And so, of course, the word prabhavit, impressed, but also influenced, prabhavdana, to exert an influence over another or over myself, to have that influence come over myself. And so in that stage, Baba was saying that, well, did you not say that you had surrendered your body, mind, and intellect to God? And now you're letting yourself get impressed by so-and-so? Well, what happened to the promise? Because you gave it to me. You gave me your mind and intellect. and I gave it back to you to hold and trust. It's not yours anymore. And if you use what is not yours, that's dishonesty. It's you were supposed to hold it in trust for me, and you didn't do that. And so that's being dishonest in whatever was given to you in trust to keep. Omanat me kayanat. Omanat, you give something to another to keep for you. And that person knows it's not mine, it's theirs. And they'll look after it with extra attention because it's not theirs. And so what happened? Did you only give half of your mind and intellect? It's an interesting question, isn't it? What does it mean giving half of my mind and half of my intellect? Well, it definitely implies that half of my mind is elsewhere, or half of my intellect is elsewhere. And so I was saying, what's the biggest mantra for your life? Surely the big mantra is Man Mana Bhav. Just focus your mind on me. Be a renunciate of all the other things. Let go of all the other things. And let God be the one who's really the one you've surrendered to. And then the mind and intellect will be stable in God's remembrance. If I'm impressed, Baba said, my intellect won't have the capacity to be stable in God's remembrance. There'll be fluctuation. And so whatever it is I do has an impact. And so just to be very aware of that, so that then when I say, Baba, I belong to you, I truly, genuinely mean it, but also I've practiced it. I've checked it in my life. Can I just be following that? And that's it. Everything is for Baba. I eat with you, I sleep with you, I wake up with you, I walk with you, I serve with you. This chant is going on in the intellect of the one who is with the Father. And so that stage where I see no one, I see nothing else except Baba, that is the stage that Baba wants me to have. Because that will then be the stage of full mercy and compassion. It'll also then be the stage of whatever service is happening, and through that, others coming to Baba. And so let me have that stage in which really I have Gyan Yukt compassion, and not just compassion that goes here and there, but doesn't have a basis of understanding, but really it's based on spirituality. Baba said also that it's important that you have mercy, but it's also important that you have spiritual authority, spiritual intoxication, but also spiritual authority. Because then when you say something to another, it will truly help them and uplift them. If you don't have that balance of love and spiritual authority, there'll be a problem. And then Baba was talking a lot about being right. One second. Traffic control came in the way. I'm in a new place and so everything's different. So that stage where if truly there is Gyan Yukt compassion, then if I see something wrong, then I explain to somebody, they're likely to listen to me. But if it's not Gyan Yukt, then what happens is that I say to Baba, and Baba commented that children are very clever in all of this. So children say, Baba, I'm fine, but when somebody speaks lies, that's when I get upset and I get angry. And Baba's saying, okay, they were wrong. Baba agrees. But were you right in the way that you got angry and maybe even expressed that anger to them? And so that's not right. You've fallen, and then you're saying you want to help another who's fallen. you failed, another one has failed. How are you going to help someone start passing if you haven't learned to pass yourself? And so two wrongs don't make a right. And so whatever it is you see, whatever it is you're watching, what you're listening, make sure that it's balanced with compassion and spiritual authority. And in that stage, have deep mercy for them so that you can truly help them. Don't ignore them or think that, well, it's going to get sorted out by somebody else. Who else? I'm now here as the instrument. And so can I possibly, at this moment now, take the lead and show them unlimited mercy so that then, like the Father, I'm able to actually help them. And then Baba spoke about responsibility. I feel responsible for someone younger than me in Gyan. I feel I have to help them. Maybe I'm a teacher, I'm in charge of a center, and I'm seeing young ones that are going a bit astray. And so I'm thinking, I have to sort this out and put it right. But if they see that I'm not right myself, how are they going to take benefit? But also, am I in that awareness of seeing past, present, and future? Okay, they've made a mistake, but now in the present, can I encourage them to be able to move forward and be able to earn a true income? Or am I intervening in such a way that I'm pulling them down? And so instead of further earning, they are actually going to fall into a debt. And so where I'm concerned about their future and the possibility of their earning for their future, then I'm going to explain to them in such a way that they understand and they're able to carry on in the best way possible. But where I don't have that consciousness or awareness of their future, maybe I'm just telling them off. You shouldn't do this, it shouldn't have been like this, why was it like this, etc., etc. And in that stage, I'm pulling them down because I'm making them feel hopeless. I'm making them disheartened. And so if I've done that to them, probably either today or tomorrow, they'll say, bye, I'm going. And so I would have been responsible for causing a huge, huge loss for them. And so I need to learn how to be able to manage things in the right way. Baba said, keep Baba as your companion for Karma Yoga, and then things will be in the right way. Earlier, Baba had also spoken about the point and how we remember many points of Gyan. But when it comes to experiencing the self, the soul, as a point of light, then in that awareness, yes, I'm going to be able to manage everything in the right way with unlimited compassion. But where I'm remembering points of Gyan, but I'm not experiencing them, and I don't have that capacity of actually using that Gyan to come to that state where I, the soul, the child of God, part of the deity family, this message needs to be put out everywhere. And so the more we're aware of what we need to do, the greater the possibility of success. And so Baba's Murali on love and compassion and Srimad. Baba said, when you go to an instrument, it's good. They'll support you, they'll help you, they'll give you their cooperation. But you have to make sure that you're not impressed by them and you're not influenced by them. Prabhavit, both things work. Why? Because they will only remind you of Srimad. They will never say, what I tell you is Srimad, they'll say, I'm reminding you of what Baba has said, and it's Baba's Srimad. And so can I remember that and not get hooked into any human being? Because then Baba said, if your intellect is connected with another human being because you're impressed by them or whatever it is, then in that stage, you're not going to be able to fly. You're not going to have the power of yoga to be able to have that strength with which to fly up above all the problems and obstacles here and get a solution from Baba, or even maybe at the end to go home with Baba, to be able to return to that sweet home of mine. But that will happen only if my intellect has understood that, yes, it's fine to give and take support and cooperation, but I mustn't get my intellect linked up with anyone, because that is where there's danger. I won't be able to move out of that sphere of influence. I'll have to work very, very hard to make that happen. And so be the point. And if I'm not aware of the practical experiences of souls who came to Baba, it was very interesting that Baba was talking about how all the souls need love and compassion, but you have to be instruments who are totally free from any thought of ego for the self in order to be a good instrument. Why? Because the outcome that I want is that this soul should be able to come close to Baba and be able to fly. And so I have to make sure that I am able to be the embodiment of all the different aspects of knowledge, so that then when I put a point, a full stop, I'm able to manage this. And the Srimad, the Dadis will never ever say that we're going to give you Srimad. They'll always say that use Baba's Murlis, use Baba's knowledge, but always remember that it's all coming from Baba. So Baba is the one who has to be made visible, nobody else but Baba. So these were some of the things that Baba spoke about. It was the end of the season, and so Baba really giving us a chance to see what we've done and what we need to do. Baba said he's going to give the result. And Baba said the result is not as I would have wanted, but it's also not as you would have wanted. And so now another year in which to make fast speed effort so that I arrive at my destination of Bab Saman. And Baba mentioned again the 3 certificates. And so the certificate from the Father, the certificate of contentment from others, but also the certificate from myself that yes, I am making good effort and I will reach my destination. And so Baba, at the end of the season, giving us a result and telling us a lot more work to be done. And then Baba thanking everybody who had come for service, whether in the past of the season or the present time. Baba doesn't forget a thing, and so Baba doesn't need notes, but Baba manages to retain everything. On the one side, the ocean, so there's 1,000 things, but out of that, one particular Murli. And so really very lovely to experience God thanking all his children and saying that yes, whether they were double foreigners or whether they're Bharatvasis, there will be that opportunity to move forward. Use your experience of Madhuban and your time in Madhuban to be able to use that as a springboard to take off further. So don't just say, well, Madhavan was lovely, but now coming back home, it's a bit challenging. No, not challenging. It's again, let me stay up above with Baba, and then I look down and I see how very much everything is just a game. So these are the things that I've taken from Baba's Murli. Arunaben, any questions? One more thing. The beads of the rosary. Baba keeps trying to make the rosary, but isn't managing it because the beads are not close enough. And so Baba picks up a bead and then thinks, well, not enough closeness, not enough accuracy, not enough cooperation. Baba sees many things. And so then says, okay, let me find another one. And so till date, Baba hasn't been able to make the Rosary of Victory of 108. But yes, Baba's made us very aware of what we need to do to be in that Rosary. Yes, Arunaben.
Thank you so much. And I think we need to get you a Brahmin to help you with all your chores. Can we stay with impressed? And it's easy to say, don't get impressed. We just explore that a bit. I think from my experience, then I get impressed when I think that somebody has an answer that I don't have, or that there's a feeling, I think, that this person can help me with something I cannot help myself with. So instead of saying don't get impressed, what should I say to myself in that situation? Instead of using a negative, what should I use as a positive?
Baba gave us the positive. Baba said, remember that this one's just an instrument who happens to be here at this moment, but actually the power that's coming, that's allowing this individual to do whatever they're doing, is actually from God. And so can I say to myself, but where did this individual get this power from? How did this individual develop this virtue or these qualities? It's coming from Baba. And so rather than go via, why don't I go straight to the source? And that will shift my focus. And if my focus is then on Baba again, then I'll be safe.
Gentlemen, is this also for Lokik?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Because where does anyone get goodness from? From there. And if you think about it, there are Lokik people who do have skills and honesty. I'm thinking about a person I know, my brother, and he doesn't know God. He doesn't want to know God. But yet he learned his honesty from my mother. And my mother was very much a Brahmin. So what was the source of that? It was Baba. And then here's a Lokik who I'm not related to in any way. And I do see very special qualities in them. But I see how they have a certain discipline, a certain routine, prayer or silence or some sort of discipline that's allowing them to tap into the source and bring some sort of energy that has given them those gifts. They don't know the source, so they're not able to take everything that the source offers, but they have some type of discipline, spiritual effort, religious effort that they're making. Their faith has given them that gift.
Right, thank you. Sorry if my volume is not great. I'll try harder. Gentlemen, regarding jealousy, it's so rampant, and I think it was there even in the early days of the Yagya. And again, I think all these things Baba mentioned, whether it's carelessness, jealousy, dislike, it's all about us, in a way, not appreciating ourselves and our fortune. And as Baba said, moving away from us as the focus. Like Baba said, look at yourself, don't look at others, and don't have, long-sighted, have short-sighted. So back to jealousy, how to have faith in the self and how to not compare, especially when you feel others are going and doing things that maybe you'd like to do or you'd want to be able to do. So again, what kind of thoughts, affirmations to not get jealous?
Think about all the gifts that God has given you and be grateful for those. And then when you start looking at yourself and you see all the things that Baba has blessed you with, then from your heart you have love for Baba, gratitude for Baba, and there's no question of jealousy for another. Because yes, somebody has something, but you also have a huge amount. And so I think it's the lack of value, the lack of compassion for the self that makes me look out there and say, what about this? What about this? But the other thing is that Baba's also mentioned how when there's jealousy, it's because I've been lazy. I haven't done the work I need to do inside myself. And if I do that inner work, then yes, I'll have everything that I see in another that I wish to have. And so these two things, gratitude, see how much Baba has blessed me with, then I don't need to look around. And secondly, if there is something that I feel is missing, can I work on it and know that if I'm taking one step forward, Baba will come 1,000 steps forward and will help me.
Yeah. Yes, no, I really felt when the Murli was very deep because, as we said, it's about having real mercy. And if I'm careless, I'm not merciful. If I'm jealous, I'm not merciful. If I'm lazy or impressed, I'm not having mercy on my time, energy. I think it's very deep, all of these things. Okay, let's get on to a few of these questions from the chat. So how to keep mercy towards the self that is healthy and meaningful based on knowledge? I know you explained, but maybe an example?
Sometimes what happens is that I'm very hard on myself, and I forget that Baba is actually the one who has given me so much and is ready to give me everything more. And so I've made a mistake and I can't forgive myself. So compassion at that moment means knowing that Baba is giving me a lot of love and Baba wants me to realize and transform and move forward. Baba doesn't want me to get stuck in anything. And so can I do that? Can I just simply say, okay, Baba, I'm willing to learn and reform, but I'm not going to beat myself up. And I think that that's one of the things that happens very, very frequently. And so compassion for the self means, can I have it in my heart to learn and let go and just say, I was giving me an opportunity to move forward still. There'll come a moment when we'll run out of time, but at the moment, I was still giving me so much and saying, okay, child, move forward, I'll help you. And so that's one example of compassion for the self, being able to forgive myself for whatever mistakes I've made.
Right, thank you, gentlemen. And yeah, there is a question mark here in the content. Baba said, according to this, if there is any weakness in your original elevated nature and sanskars, then the mercy in your hearts will enable you to have disinterest in weaknesses. Do you remember that bit, gentlemen? So the question is, can there be a weakness in our original nature?
My original nature is pure, but I'm caught up in a particular weakness, which shouldn't be part of that original nature. And so what Baba's saying to me, have unlimited disinterest. I don't want this anymore. I want to get back to that original pure state of being. And so disinterest at that moment is disinterest in a rejection. I know that vairagya, you're cutting everything to do with that thing. And so I'm cutting off that one thing that is really a weakness. And then that unlimited disinterest. And also Baba mentioned how you're doing it out of love for God. Baba wants me to become complete and pure. And so, okay, Baba, I want to be what you want me to be. I want my thoughts, my words, and actions to be such that I please you because I love you. And so that way, I'm going to reject whatever is the weakness and not go down there again.
Right. Thank you, Jenny. Somebody is asking that in the integrated retreat, you mentioned that you would be based here more, meaning Madhuban. Is that true?
I'm finding myself being asked by so many juniors and seniors and everyone. Because if you look at Madhuban, Nirvay Bhai is not so well. Brijmohan Bhai commutes between Delhi and Abu, but he spends more time now in Abu. And out of the daddies, there's only one daddy left now, Daddy Ratanmohini, and she's not so well. So in a way, it feels as if there's somebody needed there who can play a role of sustenance and so on. So they kept asking me, and what I finally said, okay, I'll come back again at the end of June for a month. And so that's the plan at the moment. So time here, time there, both places.
As we know, Jenny, these things happen slowly, and then you don't even notice that it shifted.
Something like that.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, from today's Sakar Murli, Baba was talking about wandering spirits, and I know that we don't want to talk about ghosts on Zoom, but perhaps just to answer this question, how can people overcome the fear of ghosts?
I think that you have to just have yoga power and understand that it's Baba's protection that's going to keep you safe. So you don't need to be afraid. It's like you knew that there were viruses and you had to protect yourself. There was no point in getting scared because your immunity would go down and you'd attract the virus. But same thing with this. All this is going on, different negative energies are around us. I need to very consciously protect myself with Baba's love and light so that nothing penetrates that and gets to me. If I'm scared, then that's my weak spot. And that's where there'll be an influence. But I don't want that. I just want Baba's influence over me. And so, very important point from Baba's Murli yesterday, that there is that influence of Baba, not just that I'm impressed by Baba, but I allow Baba's influence to be over me, which will support me and help me, and nothing will be able to penetrate that.
Yeah, and gentlemen, I remember Dadi Janki, she also used to say that I'm afraid of my family. so that, you know, she's conscious of doing the right karma, otherwise it will come back to her. I mean, I know it's sin, but she put it another way. Okay, last question. Somebody's asking that if I have to help in my family business, which deals with alcohol, then can I help or not? Can I give my
It's best to sit down with the family and explain to them that you'd rather not help directly with alcohol. You don't mind helping with the admin, and yes, in a way, it's also supporting that particular enterprise, but at least it keeps you out of that direct line in which alcohol is involved. Of course, the best would be if you can explain to them and really not be part of anything to do with that. It's like, you know, the Gita talks about how the person who buys the meat, the person who cleans the meat, the person who cooks the meat, the person who eats the meat, there's karma, 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 karma all along the line. And so same thing with alcohol. In fact, probably a bit more impact of negativity because it's so addictive. But I suppose whatever you're eating is also addictive. You want more and more and you don't want to do without. But especially with things like alcohol, it is a huge, huge addiction. And so if family can understand, that would be great. But if they can't, then say, well, can I do something in admin?
Right. And just somebody's asking, were you there for Mama's classes? Mama's, you know the date actually. But did you hear any of Mama's Murlis? Gentlemen, sorry, I'm mute.
My connection with Mama was more of a personal one. I wasn't into Gyan at that time. And so I didn't personally hear Mama's Murlis. So if I did, it would be when I was 8 years old and I've forgotten. But that personal connection then through my teens, meeting Mama when I was 15 in Bombay. But again, it was not in a classroom situation, it was a personal meeting. So I didn't actually hear Mama's Murli as such, but I've been reading Mama's Murlis like all of you.
All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, and have a good trip. And next week, Sister Jayanti will be back in England, so we will be back on London time. And we will have the session on Sunday 1st. So Sunday the 1st at 3:30 p.m. London time, and it will be a special session, I hope. Okay, thank you, everyone. Let's have some meditation. Thank you, gentlemen. Om Shanti.
Thanks to everyone. Om Shanti.
काबिल हूँ तेरे ही दम पर तुमने खूबी नवाजी है जीत गए हम तेरी वजह से जिंदगी की बाजी है मान गए हम सच में तुझको उम्दा तेरा काम है शुक्राना हम करते दिल से तुझको मेरा सलाम है तुझे पाके जहाँ मैंने पाया कुछ रहा नहीं बाकी ऐसा प्रीत का रस बरसाया कुछ रहा नहीं बाकी ख्वाबों की इस तर्ज को तुम्हीं ने तो कबूल किया है, दिल की हर एक अर्ज को। लेके चलोगे मंजिल तक तुम, पलकों पे अपनी बैठा कर। सुलह हो गई खुद से मेरी, साथ आपका यूं पाकर।